Charles, I'm sure you probably weren't thrilled with the back half of that second quarter, 23-point lead, and then they eventually took the lead. But how impressed you with the way the team kind of gathered itself when, with the big lead blowing or, kind of losing the big lead and then kind of making the plays once again in another tight game there in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, super impressed with the team. Proud of the team for staying together. I thought it was a great opportunity. Like we've talked about, we've been in some close games, and you have to learn from those. And then I think tonight was another opportunity for us to learn how to play with a lead, a big lead at that, and valuing possessions. And I just thought in that second quarter, we got away from what was helping us build such a big lead. And I thought the togetherness, I thought our defensive intensity was really good coming into that first quarter. And we just took our foot off the gas. And also give credit to Toronto. I thought that they did a great job of all of a sudden playing with a little bit more pace. I thought they did some things in transition that hurt us. They started dominating the paint in a way that we had taken it away in the first quarter. So I'm very impressed with how we kind of regrouped and gathered ourselves in some adverse times.
Spoke, I think, the other day about other guys stepping up with kind of the injuries and minutes and everything. And on a tonight where you didn't get as much as you've been getting from your starters, you got 71 points from the bench. What did you think of their contribution specifically?
I thought their contribution was huge. We needed every one of those buckets. We needed every one of those stops that I thought that those guys helped us get. Really exciting to see Tijon get his first NBA regular season bucket and free throw attempt. And I thought, Cody and Trey and Grant did a great job of helping us score. But I also thought that group did a good job of kind of stabilizing us defensively, too. I thought we kind of switched up and we went to 15 and we read it a little bit. And Musa was part of that group, and Musa helped us get some stops. And the individual pride, I thought, went to another level defensively there. So really proud of our bench, and that's why I have so much confidence in the depth of this team.
Going back to the second quarter, you're up 20, they go on a run. Are you thinking, let me not call a timeout, let me let the team figure it out on the fly and allow them to work out those kinks in real time without having to call that timeout?
Yeah, a little bit of it is your timeout situation. I took a quick timeout to challenge something, and so that's the first media, and then now you got to wait until the 3-minute media, and I believe they called a timeout at another stretch. So I kind of was sitting there just trying to be smart with our timeout situation. I also thought our group was going to be able to kind of like organize ourselves and use some of the dead balls to kind of settle ourselves down. So I thought a little bit of timeout situation, a little bit of how do we use this as a good opportunity to learn something about ourselves and figure out what it's going to take to kind of get ourselves a better footing in the game.
Grant Williams just came in here and said that you didn't have to give them a speech or anything when the run was happening. He said, all you said was, this isn't our standard. Can you just talk about what the standard is and how that allowed you to, make this league go back to what it was from the beginning?
Yeah, we've talked about it a ton in terms of like the standards of excellence that we're trying to set around here every day. It's a consistency of habits, the habits that we work on in terms of our competitiveness. Defensively, we have absolutes of, being great in transition, protecting the paint and finishing possessions and defending without fouling. And so these are just like the things that we have agreed upon that we're going to do at a really high level every night consistently. And offensively, we have the same type of absolute standards in terms of creating an advantage, trusting the pass, and being relentless offensive rebounders. And so anytime I feel like we're straying away from our identity or the standards that we all agreed upon and set out, then I just feel the need to remind them. And they're great about, I think, holding each other accountable to those standards as well.
Pregame, you kind of talked about Josh's return, how he impacts the team. This is only his second game in the regular season for you guys. But seeing what he did with a couple corner threes, just playmaking, just what can you say about what he brought to the team overall tonight?
Yeah, his energy was phenomenal. I thought that his defensive impact, disrupting some plays, bringing a level of physicality. He was able to sniff out a couple plays. Some of his competitive unders I loved as well. And then offensively, at times he gives us another ball handler that if they're going to put one of their weaker defenders on him, using him as a guy that can help us initiate our offense. And I thought that was also a great asset for us to be able to have. And then to your point, catching and shooting, just being able to space the floor and shoot it with confidence. And then I'm not sure if he got any offensive rebounds today, but I definitely saw and felt him on the glass. And I guess he came up with one, but I thought that him crashing helped open it up for other people as well, because then you all of a sudden have to get a hit on him too.
And then with Trey, you've obviously seen him do it before, but off the bench for 20, 25 points, spark. Can you explain just what he does for you guys and even kind of come to you lift up the bench?
Yeah, no, it's huge for us to be able to have a guy like that that can score in bunches. If they want to pressure Melo and put their best defender on Melo, now all of a sudden Trey can be our secondary ball handler. And whether or not he's initiating the set or just putting him in a corner and trying to run some type of pin down or something, he gives you another element, and it loosens up the defense. Then for Melo to be able to drive, or Miles to be able to drive, or Cody or whomever it may be. So he's a great weapon for us to be able to utilize.
You guys have talked about, or you've talked about wanting to get just the best uncontested look every single time. And right now, you guys as a team are generating the fifth most in the league in terms of wide open makes per game. It's around 11 shots per game. Can you just talk about like what has contributed to that being the case?
Yeah, I think what contributes to it, number one, is our screening. Credit to Nick and Miles and Grant and Musa. Our bigs do a phenomenal job, I think, of helping our guards create an advantage and be able to get downhill, get to the paint. And then some of those guys have the ability and versatility to pop sometimes, which I think confuses coverages. And now all of a sudden, as they're popping, we've created some pick and pop threes. I think the other thing that's helped us is, like I said, Josh and Cody, these guys attacking the paint, being able to get themselves downhill, Trey getting downhill, Melo. Once we get a piece of the paint, I think the guys are doing a great job of their rim reads and all of a sudden trusting the pass, and then everyone on the perimeter is just letting it fly with confidence.
Charles, you talked about having, to remind them about the standard. Are they also, given how much they played together at the end of last year and now the beginning of this year, could they become that team that kind of is able to police themselves a little bit in that respect?
Oh, most definitely. It's a locker room of, like I've said before, consistent competitors. They are super prideful. They all have really good relationships off the court as well. So I think the conversations and the ability to have tough conversations is fairly easy for them. And they understand when the game needs them to speak up and see something, say something. And there's a way to do it where it's not always super combative. There's a tone. There's a healthy competitiveness that I think is behind all these guys too, which enables them to speak up to their teammates. So I love it. It helps me as the coach when you have guys young and old that are able to communicate at such a high level.